Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
hmm
You know how we do things around here. We pick a really interesting story and we just kind of dive in.
That's right. We take a look at what's going on and what it might mean, for the bigger picture.
Exactly. And today we're looking at Canada.
Okay.
Specifically, all this talk about immigration, how it's changed, where it's going, things like that. And we found this article in the National Post that really got us thinking.
Yeah, this one's called Minister Says Universities Bring in Too Many Indian Students.
Catchy title, right?
Yeah, it really makes you wonder what's going on.
And that's what we're here to do. So the article talks about how Canada's had this huge surge in immigration recently.
Yeah.
And now some people are saying, hold on, maybe we need to change things up a bit.
Right, like maybe how we're managing everything.
Yeah. And it's not just about the numbers, like how many people are coming in. It's also about, well, who those people are.
Like where they're coming from, what they're bringing to the table.
Exactly. And this is where it gets interesting. Canada's immigration minister, Marc Miller, he actually said that he's a little concerned about how many students are coming from India to study at Canadian universities.
Hmm.
He even said something about wanting to see more diversity in international student recruitment.
Well, Canada has always welcomed international students. They're a big part of what makes Canada so vibrant.
Oh, for sure. They contribute a lot, both to the economy and just to the culture.
But it sounds like the minister might be thinking about how to make things, I don't know, a little more balanced.
Yeah, that's kind of how I read it too. But then he also said something about focusing on the quality of immigrants over just the quantity.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
So I got to ask, what does that even mean, quality, when we're talking about people?
It's a tough one, for sure. I mean, in the context of immigration, I guess they're probably talking about things like skills, education, work experience, things that align with what Canada needs right now.
So, like, are they going to start giving points for certain jobs or something?
Maybe. I mean, they already have a point system, but maybe they'll start weighting things differently. Like language proficiency might become more important, or having specific certifications in, say, tech or healthcare.
I see. So instead of just saying, okay, we need this many immigrants this year, they're going to be more selective about who they let in.
It seems that way, yeah.
But how do you even measure something like that? I mean, who decides what quality looks like? It seems pretty subjective.
You're right. It does raise a lot of questions. I mean, there's always the potential for bias.
Sure, sure.
And even if they come up with some kind of objective system, it's still going to be controversial. Not everyone's going to agree with how they're weighting things.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, this is definitely something to watch. But let's move on for a second. The article also talks about a city called Brampton in Ontario. Have you ever been?
I have, actually.
Okay, so it's been hit hard by all this, all this immigration stuff we've been talking about.
Yeah, Brampton's a really interesting case study. Like between 2021 and 2022, their population grew by almost 90,000 people. That's massive.
Almost 90,000. That's like adding a whole small city in just 1 year.
Right. That kind of growth puts a strain on everything. Housing, schools, transportation, you name it.
Yeah, and the article talks about how Brampton's actually got the fastest growing rents in all of Canada right now.
Oh, it makes sense. You get that many people moving in, all needing a place to live, and of course prices are going to go up.
Makes you think about all those newcomers. I mean, imagine arriving in a new country and you can't even find an affordable place to live. That's got to be tough.
It is. And it's not just housing. The article mentions that even finding a job in Brampton can be really competitive right now. There's a story about a grocery store that held a job fair, and hundreds of people showed up.
Hundreds. Wow.
Hundreds, like way more than they could ever hire.
So even though the city's growing, there aren't enough jobs for everyone who needs one.
It's a tough situation for sure. It makes you wonder how sustainable all this growth really is.
Okay, so let's put it all together. Canada's in this kind of weird spot right now. It's trying to figure out how to handle this huge wave of immigration while also making sure that it's actually benefiting the country in the long run.
And that its cities can actually handle it. Like places like Brampton, they're really feeling the effects.
It's a lot to think about, right? And the minister's comments about quality over quantity suggest that things might be changing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Like, how do they define quality in a way that's fair? And how do they make sure it doesn't create new problems?
It's definitely a topic that needs more discussion. So, if you're listening out there, we want to hear your thoughts. What do you think is the best way for Canada to approach its immigration policy going forward? Hit us up on social media. Let's keep this conversation going.
Definitely. It's a conversation that affects all of us. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time.
See you then.